How many of us have heard the phrase, the pen is mightier than the sword? How many of us have heard it before? So, this phrase was said by Cardinal Richelieu in a play that was written by Bulwer Lytton in 1839. The cardinal was a very wise and intellectual man. He was a statesman, and he used his wisdom to maintain his powers. You see, the pen is so powerful that it could ignite wars and it could end wars. The pen could bring peace to the world. The pen is a symbol of ideas in the head. And an idea in the head is the rawest form of raw material. See, persuasive arguments and conversations can end up influencing people a lot more than brute force and violence. There is no sense going forward. It is the edge of civilization. So they said, and I believed, until the voice of conscience rang interminable changes, assuring, there is no edge to civilization. Day and night repeated, and on one everlasting whisper, something hidden, go and find it. Go and look behind the mountains, something lost and waiting for you. Go. Now, I hope you enjoyed that poem as much as I did. But just in case you did not, I hope you have other poems which you do enjoy and you do appreciate. I will circle back to that poem in the course of this talk. But for now, I'm going to ask us a couple of questions. How many of us know who this person is? William Shakespeare. How many of us are familiar with his works? Good. Now, how many of us think, and you would agree, that without writers like William Shakespeare, our worlds would have been a lot less impacted upon, and perhaps our lives would have been a lot less meaningful? You see, the beautiful thing about writing is that it is boundless. The only boundaries to writing is the limitations of our own imaginations. If you remove those boundaries, what you could do with writing would be boundless. Now, I want you to think about your favorite song artists. Think about late Michael Jackson, Eminem, Enya, you name them. You see, apart from being beautiful, apart from being people who can use the instruments and having angelic voices, these people are also very beautiful writers. I mean, they write the best lines. Have you ever listened to Madonna's The Power of Goodbye? The lyrics in that song elicit some of the most emotions you could think of. Now, whilst we read the thoughts of people like William Shakespeare, James Belzer, George Orwell, Ernest Hemingway, Wole Soyinka, Chimamanda Adichie, and others, we get to sing the thoughts of writers still, of people like Enya, of people like Eminem, of Lil Wayne. That's the power of writing. There are no rules that bounds writing, and there's no limitation to what you could choose to do with your writing. See, one thing with our world is, it is constructed in such a way that people want to listen only to influential, powerful, and famous people. But what about the unknown person with beautiful ideas in their head, who have got no audience and no one to listen to them? It reminds me when I used to critique the government. That's what I do that almost every day. And I take to writing to do that. See, writing helps you to find closure, especially when you're heartbroken. This also reminds me when I was in my 4th year in high school. I had fallen in love with a girl in my class, a very beautiful girl. But I was the shy type. So I took to writing, and I wrote out my thoughts in a love letter. When I presented that love letter to her, guess what happened? She turned me down. You see, the days that followed was very traumatic, especially in class. I would be bursting with emotions, but she wouldn't see me. And I had no one to tell it to. I mean, I couldn't go back home and tell my dad that I had fallen in love in my 4th year in high school. He would think I was mad. So I took to writing, and I would tell the stories of my emotions to my book. And the good thing is, my book would not kiss and tell. It would never betray me. It could keep my secrets. I'm going to tell us the story of a boy who was born somewhere in Nigeria. He was born in a village where the only source of water was a well, a shallow well. There was no light, no electricity. He was born in utter darkness. At the age of 3, he lost his dad. A few years later, lost his mom. Around the age of 3, he was also diagnosed with an inexplicable ailment. In the course of the next few years, up until when he was 19, he had had 6 surgeries on his neck. These surgeries left him with scars. Scars that made him not able to look into people's eyes. And he would put his face down when he would speak to people. And the principal in his school said to him one day, "You will tell this story to the world, but before then, you've got to embrace these scars and see them as a part of you." See, he always wanted to write. He always wanted to be in the editorials. He always wanted to write articles for people to read. But he kept thinking, no one would listen to him. And perhaps his ideas were not good enough. So there was so much bags and baggage which he was carrying mentally. There was such a mountain. But what he didn't know was that behind that mountain was a pen. Behind that mountain was a spot with which he would stand and impact his world, like other writers before him. And so he went on to experience admission nepotism, and that impeded his choice of career. And then he took on to investment, became a very prolific investor, building a private equity portfolio, grew that portfolio into several hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then in a spate of market misfortunes, he lost everything. Slid into depression. Fortunately for him, he had a new dad and a new family. And his new dad never for one day made him feel like he didn't belong. His dad recognized his passion for writing and told him, "You will write for the world." See, he continued to write articles without an audience, perhaps a very little audience. And when he would write think piece articles, people would message him and say, "I love the things you've written. You write on such controversial topics, and you make such analysis that we love them. We want to read from you. Give us a book to read from you." And then he moved over to the UK, and then spoke to someone whom he likes to call his English mom. Her name's Audra Hill. And she said to him, "I want to read a book from you. Give me a novel to read." And at that moment, he started to think about the title of one chapter in a book he had written previously, but never published. And the title of the chapter was, "Except You Act." About the same time, he started talking to his dad again from the UK, and his dad would remind him, "Except you act, you may never find that pen. Except you act, you may never be able to drop the baggage that you carry and go behind the mountain to discover that pen." And so he applied to Parallel Facts, which is the Nigerian print media, and as fate would have it, he was taken in as a writer. And when he wrote his first article for them, the editor said to him, "This is such a beautiful piece. Please, can you write more frequently?" I mean, that was the last piece of the puzzle. See, the boy in question, the boy in this story, his name is Winston Inyobong Adaite. And he stands before you now as many things, and also as the president of the NSS at the University of the West of England, Bristol. And I am happy that this is my debut TED Talk, because I have a surprise for Audra Hill, that despite all the mountains that I have faced, I have eventually been able to write my first book, Go Look Behind the Mountains. In writing this book, I had to think about people like myself who had beautiful ideas, who would wake up in the morning and write quotes and put them out on social media, and people would comment. But they had no audience. People like myself who had great ideas that could impact the world, but no one would listen to them. And in thinking about these people, I decided to build Literator. It's an innovation that is supposed to bridge the gap between finding these talented writers with a passion to changing the world. Well, Literator is still under production, and I might not be able to give us specifics in this TED Talk, but hopefully I would be able to do that soon enough. Also, I have decided to start a writer society at the University of the West of England, because I want to work with talented writers who do not feel that inclusion, who do not have that sense of belonging, that their words could change the world. I want to work with people who wake up every day with tears in their eyes because they feel they have so much information, so much knowledge in them, but there's no audience to share them with. I want to work with writers who want to scream and tell the world that if you give me a spot, I will impact the world. Now, you could be in the audience listening to this TED Talk, and you could be that person that has these beautiful ideas. It wasn't easy writing this book. I fought so many demons, I must tell you. I promised people several years I would write a book. I never did. But you see, until you drop the weight of the bag and the baggage that you carry, you may never be able to find the fuel to go behind and look behind the mountains. And until you drop that bag and baggage, the pen will still be hidden behind the mountains. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Winston Inyobong Adaite. Thank you very much.